Hello, once again, my friends. I'm recording things, and me and Greg are having a fairly interesting debate on Titanfall. So I thought I'd start recording. So, Greg doesn't think that Titanfall is worth the $60 price point, and I don't know if I agree.
I don't
I,
believe it lived up to the potential that it could have.
I think it really did, though. I really like the. You said that the AI felt cheesy,
It
right?
didn't feel cheesy. It felt like so it didn't it felt as though it felt like a trick that like an older game might use to make it seem as though a lobby were more full, as in you're as if you were playing with, say, 56 on 56, when in reality it was 20 players and then a boatload of bots. And I feel like with a game like that, they could have just said, "Oh, we'll make this 40 on 40, or however large, versus however large," and it would have worked fine. And I feel like for a game that is only multiplayer, which is sort of that nowadays, it's a big draw to be only multiplayer. I feel like they could have definitely gone with the larger number of people per team. The servers would have been able to handle it quite fine, I'd imagine, and it would have really been the. It wouldn't have been people versus bots. It would have been an actual player versus player, which I do admit I've only played around 20 minutes of it, or about two matches, and I found I was rarely running into the actual players or pilots. It was once every 7 or 8 kills would be a pilot.
In all honesty, I don't agree with that at all because in my own experience, which is like probably close to 5 or 6 hours, which is a little bit contrary to your 20 minutes. Probably the better I got at the game, the more often I encountered pilots, which is probably a good factor when it came to progression wise because as a newer player, you're gonna want to get better before you start encountering the big dogs, right? And I think that makes sense. Also,
Yeah.
Warface is like really broken, so I can't find a game. Anyway, what I'm saying is that you can get enough points to have how do you say, like, actual encounters with titans, or how to farm up to getting your titan and then being able to compete with the big leagues, the pilots and then the other titans. When in reality, I don't know, I felt to the point where like I could jump on a titan, blow it up, jump off of the titan, jump, like, wall run across the map, and then kill some dude who was trying to snipe me on a roof, and then like jump kick some dude in the face, and they were both pilots, of course. And then I would throw a grenade down, kill like 4 or 5 grunts. I don't know. I felt really awesome playing the game the whole time, and I felt no um, real issues when trying to find pilots ever. Honestly,
It's not that I was trying to find pilots. It's just that there didn't seem to be
all
all
that
that
money.
many in comparison to how many bots there were, and it felt like, I don't know, for a game that says we're only going to be multiplayer, is not going to be any campaign or single player of any sort. There was a lot of there were many moments where I just wasn't in contact with another person, and it turned from a PvP into a player versus bot, with the occasional human popping in and out.
Um, I don't agree with that for a couple reasons. One of them being I don't think it's a gimmick in regards to the bots, mostly because back in the day, they couldn't do that. It would have been honestly easier and easier on the processor to have player versus player as opposed to player
Yeah,
versus enemy,
yes, it is.
because in this day and age, since they have, AI are each coded individually, they're running lines of code individually as
Yeah,
opposed to the player running the lines of code in their head and then just,
yeah.
passing along input and then syncing up the progress as the game progresses. But, now that we're ahead in technology times, people can, have those AI have their cake and eat it too, and have those AI feel like more human, more interactive. I don't know if you came across those little interesting moments when you see AI like duking it out.
Yeah, I came across those quite often actually, but the AI felt bringing back your whole or I guess my whole gimmicky argument. It felt like they were trying to make the game feel bigger than it was,
And
and
I think that's
it
a
could
good
have
thing.
been as big as it appeared to be.
Well, you have
I
to
think
think about it.
easily.
You have to think about it from the side of the developers as well. The people from Infinity Ward who got fired by Activision and then came over to make Titanfall.
Yeah, I don't remember what the name of the company is
I
either.
think it's like Respawn Studios or something like that.
That sounds correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was thinking Dice for some reason. Now, like,
No,
oh,
no. I mean,
Dice made
honestly, the game
Battlefield.
does look a little bit Battlefield-esque. I can kind of see the connection.
And I mean, most
'cause-
FPSs look very similar.
No, I mean, Battlefield is a distinct, like, smaller player feeling to it. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
maps are very large.
Yeah,
Battlefield.
the players felt
And
small.
the whole
in
lens
comparison.
flare thing is very Battlefield-esque. So
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, what I was saying was,
also vehicles, but go on.
the fact of the matter is, the people who made Modern Warfare and all that, the people who basically jump-started Call of Duty's fast track to the top, right?
Mhm.
They had 6-on-6 multiplayer in their game originally, and
Yeah,
I don't
maps are
think
very
it
small
was.
though.
I don't think it was. Yeah, it was a small map, but I don't think it was meant to be like a gimmick. But I think they had bigger intentions, and they wanted to stay true to like the smaller player count to make your characters feel like you have more volition on the battlefield instead of just running around getting shot occasionally and then maybe killing one or two guys, attempting to get a kill streak as opposed to being able to murder lots of people at the same time. I don't know. I think they did that in order to make the player feel more like they had a bigger effect on the battle, even if they weren't doing that great.
Well, I mean, now it becomes the argument of, is it better to pander to the in this case, is it better to pander to the lowest common denominator or to pander to the average or the highest common denominator?
I guess.
And for this, I really think they should have they just shouldn't have put bots in. And although it would have made it would have discouraged people who were not so great at the game from playing, which is always bad. Because I'm bad at most games I play, but
Mhm.
it while it would discourage worse players from playing the game, it also would make it feel like you're actually playing against other people rather than just bots, which is
I kind of see
really.
I see where you're coming from, but that's why like the maps have like a very clear division in my opinion. The division between the ground forces and then the people on the rooftops and the Titans. Like, if you look at the rooftops, generally speaking, more of the pilots will be on the rooftops because the AI can't get up there.
Yeah.
So if you want to fight a more direct fight against more players as opposed to more AI, that's where you got to go. And I think they did a very good job of kind of sectioning off the battlefield, making you feel like you're higher up, more superior, like you have the ability to change the fight in your favor, even if you don't want to directly play against. Oh my god, I'm so bad. But directly play against the human players. Kind of like you can play your own little story out in your head. Like I don't know if you watched Total Biscuit's video, but he mentioned
I've not.
the story is kind of like what you make of it for each game. Like I definitely felt that when I was playing. I felt like each game had its own little narrative of my own character, like turning the corner and finding a pilot and being able to handily defeat him, or having a very close encounter with death, taking a few bullets and then managing to jump kick him in the face. I mean, it's really a cool feeling, but also at the same time there's the high tension moments in the battle where you come across a player, and then the low tension moments where you're trying to either farm or just gain a few more attrition points by killing grunts. And I like that idea like a lot. I don't know. maybe that's what you don't like about it, but that's what I kind of really like about it.
I just, I don't know. I don't like the fact that I'm not. I'm trying to figure out how to put my thoughts into words, and they're very complicated. But I don't mean to say that giving the player choices is bad,
Hmm.
but on any level. But I don't like that you are kind of just free to almost do whatever you want because the bots pose very little threat. To, I mean, I would assume to most people, as I'm again very bad at most games I play, but the bots seem to be very easy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But honestly, if you run in there guns a-blazing and murdering the bots, I don't think... I agree, and that begs the question, should the bots be a little more difficult, and would that make the game better? I feel like, to an extent, yes, but it would also lose the effect of what the bots do. I mean, you should be able to, like, if you run in there carefully, you should be able to kill the bots. But if you run in there, like, completely haphazardly, I think you should die,
Well,
you know?
yeah, I mean, but that's the same thing. I came into many a room where I'd run in, and then on my way back down, I'd realize, oh, there's been a bot in here, and I'd kill him, and then that would be that. They didn't really pose any threat at all.
Yeah.
There would be many a time where I'd run past the bot, realize that he was there, turn around, kill him, and then go on my way. And it felt like they were just kind of something else to add to the game artificially. It didn't feel like a solid thing. It didn't feel like a meaningful thing to do. It felt like, oh, I'm here, I might as well do it.
I kind of agree, but also I've been killed by the bots maybe twice. Like, I think the first time I was up on a perch, like on a balcony kind of thing, and a bot came up behind me apparently and meleeed me in the back twice, and then I died. And I was like, wait, what? A bot just killed me? Like, that shouldn't happen. And then the second time was it was like a group of specters, and I ran in there right at their spawn. I hit one in the face, hit two in the face, hit three in the face, and then this third one finally brought me down with bullets. And I was like, wait, no, that didn't just happen. I agree that the bots shouldn't surprise you when they kill you, because that's just it should be a slightly more normal thing, but I don't think they should be to the point where if you're just like running down the street and a bot like sees you, they shouldn't aim bot you in the face, you know?
Yeah, no,
Like,
that makes sense. I mean, I for one don't believe there should be bots in the game, but if there have to be bots in the game, I believe they should be more on the more difficult side.
I mean, they tried to do that very cool. I don't know if you saw it, but there's like a hacking mechanic when it, you know, the machine, like the specters or whatever.
Yeah, I'm aware of what you're talking about, but I did not know there was a hacking mechanic.
Yeah, no, that's what I was asking. But you know the little specters, like the
Yeah.
robots.
Yes.
There's a way to hack them, and it's cool, I guess. But I didn't feel like if you hack them, it's not like they're gonna gain you any points. Like, they're not gonna kill anyone. Like what's the point, really? You know. And that's a kind of a like, every time I hacked one, I was like, oh, that's cool. I just hacked a specter. I wonder what it's gonna. Oh wait, it's not gonna do anything because they can't do anything because they're terrible. And I felt kind of like, well, I mean, I feel like that should, you know, reap more of a benefit. Like, I feel like specters should be, they should live up to the name of a specter. Like, that's kind of a cool idea. Like, these, like, you know, robot troops who are, like, sent in to take down the Titans on the other team, but they don't do anything. Like, I guess that's kind of a cool idea, but in theory, like, maybe they should, you know, enter the map and then they should be the ones just completely wrecking the grunts, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that would add a lot more to the game if that happened. But as of right now, the specters don't do crap. Like, they're like, oh, you know, some specters have landed on the battlefield. You're like, okay, well, how much do I care, honestly, you know?
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it's just one of those things where for a multiplayer only game, it felt at many times it felt very much like I was playing a single player campaign, much like Dark Souls, where someone could come invade you. And
I think it depends on your skill level as well, because I honestly only felt like that when I first started as well. Like it's kind of interesting because it's kind of dependent on the way you play, because if you're sprinting around using your double jump, parkouring around, other players can see you more easily on the battlefield, because otherwise you just kind of blend in with the crowd, because there's not really much distinction between an AI and a pilot until you murder them or start shooting at them. But like if you're just on the battlefield fighting the bots, then you're not going to run into a whole bunch of pilots. But if you're up on the rooftops like I was a lot of the time, then pilots will be able to spot you much more easily. I always scan the rooftops because I'd always know that pilots would be up there waiting to shoot down from the heavens to murder me if I wasn't looking up that way. And, you know, it also gives you a vantage point so that other pilots will try and sneak up on you. And that's where more of the player-to-player interactions came from, I felt. Because I've definitely spent like maybe 1 or 2 games where I was literally just on the ground like a bot, and I would only die to Titans like stepping on me, and I'm like, well, I guess. And if you get a little bit better, there are definitely some telltale signs when something's a player and when something's not a player, because players have a different running animation, I noticed, and then players have the jetpack is very, very noticeable when they use it. Same thing goes with the camo. If they're using the camo, you can see it, because obviously the grunts and the specters don't have that. Which, but I mean, it's kind of your style of the play. I think the bots are almost more like optional in some ways, and I think that's really cool because I like being able to, you know, either fight bots or fight players, and that's a very interesting mechanic that I've been looking for in a game for quite some time. I don't feel like the Titans add a whole lot. I think they're cool.
The Titans were interesting. I like to add on to the Titan thing. I liked how you could just have it kind of follow you. That was I think that was a really nice feature because you didn't have to put yourself at just like paint a massive target on your chest by hopping inside one. But at the same time, you could kind of see, oh, these people are shooting at him from the rooftops. They must be pilots. Those are just some more bots. You know, It was a nice way to draw fire without putting yourself at direct risk.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very cool mechanic as well. I like that idea a whole lot because there was oftentimes like I'm on like a crazy streak or like I just picked up this awesome gun and I don't want to, you know, get into a Titan, but again, I have to call it down because it can give me some more points. Yeah. And there were definitely times when the AI Titan like killed a pilot and I was like, that's kind of freaking awesome. Like this guy was trying to sneak up on me and he just, you know, got stepped on by my Titan, and you're like, that's really cool. Like there are definitely moments like that, and I like that a whole lot. And I think that's part of the reason why the AI are there, so that your AI and, you know, even though they're not the best, they kind of just add an ambience to the battle. An ambience that you can interact with. That's how I kind of see it. Like, they're there, and it's cool sometimes, even though they're not, like, huge integral parts of the battle. You can kind of see, like, them fighting, them, you know, duking it out, them shooting each other, and that's interesting in its own right, but it's also, like, not the most pivotal point of the game. It's, like, it's optional if you interact with them, and that's why I feel like they're kind of, like, this added ambience, and that's why I like it.
I agree with the fact that they feel optional, but the fact that it feels almost as if, well, to me anyways, it felt like if it was either kill bots or go look for players.
I never really had to look for players, honestly. Maybe that's just me, but there was very few times where it, like, and they kind of fill in the periods where you're looking for players if you are. I never really felt like... I always felt like I had a purpose on the battlefield. Like, I always know where I was looking for, or what I was looking for, or where I was going to go. Mm-hmm. And it might have been because of the bots. It might have been because I never really had a problem finding players. I don't know what it was, but I never had a problem with that the way you did, I guess.
To me, it felt a bit... you played Battlefield 3, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Where it was very large maps, but the player count wasn't really suited for how large the maps were, and at times it just kind of felt like you were looking for people to shoot.
Yeah.
It felt like that quite a bit of the time.
Literally never felt that. I'm not personally a big fan of Battlefield, mostly because it just feels like you're just running around and then occasionally shooting people and occasionally getting shot. But that's why I feel like Titanfall is kind of like, not to say the natural progression, but we had many steps in the ladder of first-person shooter genres, and like
Yes, of
that
course.
kind of started with like Halo 1, then it kind of crawled into the modern military where we are today, but it started with like Duke Nukem, of course, or Doom, all that crap in the past. And I feel like Titanfall is the next step. I really like where it's going. Maybe you don't agree, but I very
feel
much
like
so.
it borrowed too much from the third-person MOBA genre of LoL and
I
Dota.
that's the most I've disagreed with you thus far. Like I
The
don't
whole
feel that
with the whole
at
bots
all.
things. It except in LoL and MOBA, they act as they have much the same function as they do in Titanfall. They're very easy to kill and are basically there just for free experience and points. Whereas in Titanfall, they're basically there for just experience and points and are very easy to kill. But I don't know. I feel like they kind of borrowed that from the third-person MOBA genre, as I was saying before, and it didn't really. It felt out of place for one, and it felt, as I'll return to the word I used before, gimmicky. Because you were kind of. It was like, look, you can fight bots or you can fight people, but if you don't want to fight bots, you're gonna have to go look for people, and there's only 6 of them on the other team, and it's a rather large map. So
personally, I think part of the fact that you didn't really find a lot of people was because you didn't know like what to look for in a player. I found that I never really had a problem. I noticed also my friend came over and he tried it as well, and he was having trouble finding people as well. But he was like on the outer rim of the map like the entire time. Like I'm like going towards the center, like that's where everyone's fighting. And he's like, no man, I don't want to snipe. And he's like, why am I not finding anyone? I'm like, oh my god, like this is.
I typically ran straight through the center, and more often than not, I've found that when I was killed by a player, it was by a player that I didn't see.
I rarely was killed by players I didn't see, honestly. I mean, the amount of times that my neck was cracked was probably like one, maybe twice, the entire time I was playing. I don't know, maybe I was just like a natural at the game, but I honestly felt like it was very easy to know when players were around, etc., etc. I barely died, and I have very few complaints about not knowing when players were right around the corner or whatever. And when they did, I feel like they also were trying to react at the same time, because I feel like the battlefield was much more straightforward in its layout, because it's like this side is this and this side is the. Oh my god, I'm so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I never had the same problems that you do, so maybe.
My problems could be stemming from the fact that I did only play about 2 matches.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is that maybe.
My final gripe with it was the fact that it is going to be launched for $60, and I, for one, don't believe that it deserves $60. Though it is a good game, it was fun to play. I wouldn't see myself paying $60 for it.
I'm probably definitely gonna pick it up when it comes out, but I think what I was gonna say again was I think the reason for that, it might be indicative of the fact that it's not so beginner friendly. I don't know, maybe, but I never really had a problem when I was starting up, as far as I remember. Maybe I didn't, I just don't remember it. But I feel like my impressions have stayed pretty stagnant the entire time, and this is also coming from someone who barely heard anything, thought it was for the Xbox One, thought I was never going to play it, and I was like, okay. And then I heard about the beta, my friend was like, hey man, you should sign up, and I was like, alright, I guess. I had literally zero hype for this game, and now I'm very hyped for it. Like, I literally could care less about the game until my friend was like, just sign up for the beta, maybe you'll get in. And then I watched some videos, and I was like, this actually looks pretty interesting. And then I played it for myself, and I was like, this game's awesome. Like, straight up.
Yeah.
But
myself, I came from the other end of the spectrum. I was aware that it was going to be launched for PC as well, and I heard a bunch of hype coming into it, and that may have been what ruined the game for me. I don't know. I just believe that, number one, the game was not as good as people said it was, to me, and I don't believe it warranted as much hype as it got. That, of course, comes with most AAA games that have been coming out lately.
yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I mean, I don't know. I kind of stayed away from the hype mostly because I didn't experience the hype. But I mean,
did you experience the hype?
Also, worth mentioning right now, I am playing Spelunky and my character is Kirby, and I'm now gonna wait because I replaced the ghost with the box art of Call of Duty Ghosts. Actually, I'm gonna go to the next one and then do that next. Sorry, what were you saying?
Okie doke. You don't even know what I was saying. Something about the fact that I don't believe it's worth $60.
Oh my god, I'm so bad. I keep dying. Anyway, it's not worth $60. I don't like it when AAA titles are $60. Now that I'm more of an indie gamer and all that.
It's not the whole AAA $60 thing. It's just the fact that it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a full game. And when you have games that are there's a lot more work put into them, or it is apparent to me that there's a lot more work put into a lot of other games that are coming out that are also going to be $60. As I said before, it feels like a bit of a slap in the face to other gaming companies saying, look, because of our prestigious past and the gun mechanics that everybody's learned to love from Call of Duty, we can put out this game that isn't as robust as it could have been, but it's still going to be $60.
I honestly don't agree because, again, I might have been from whence I came, but I don't think... I don't know how much marketing they honestly did, and EA is kind of, not the greatest company in the world, but I don't feel like it was cheesed in any way in that sense. I feel like it was almost very fairly done because... Oh god, it's so bad. But the way that it was marketed, it wasn't like, we've worked on Call of Duty in the past, blah blah blah, and that wasn't the main focus. I feel
I understand that, and my words are obviously not the dev team's words, but that's what it felt like to me. I obviously can only speak for myself.
This is what I feel like. Oh, this guy.
Right.
But I mean,
all you have is opinions.
I mean, I have more concrete evidence playing the game for like a lot longer.
All you have is opinions, sir.
All you have is dumb
opinions.
But honestly, I feel like it was very well done.
It was good. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was a good game. I just, from all the hype from people that may have very well may have been what ruined the game, as often fan bases do ruin games. But it just doesn't seem like a game worth $60 to me.
I don't agree fundamentally, mostly because I really like the game so far, and the fact that I couldn't play the beta anymore because it's like expired made me kind of sad. And
I did that.
Haven't really felt the hype as much as other people, but
have you experienced the hype?
Oh my gosh,
Mark?
no, I haven't experienced the hype, and that's why I didn't experience the hype until I started playing it. Now I'm waiting for the Call of Duty Ghost, by the way, but I personally, I really think it's gonna warrant that because the game itself is just really well done. The mechanics are solid, and you know it looks nice. And I don't know, I just like the game, man. I don't know what to tell you.
For me, I get my worth out of my game for how many hours I put into it. And
I mean,
usually before, buying a game, I'll ask myself, it's, say a game's $20, I'll say, will I at least put 5 hours into this game? And usually the answer is yes. But with Titanfall, for a game that's $60, I have to ask myself, will I put in at least, 20 hours in this game? I just, at the very least, maybe 20 hours? I just can't see myself really enjoying playing the game for that long, and mostly just because what it did bring that was new to the table was interesting, but not enough so that I could see myself really wanting to play the game for hours on end. It felt more like a nice refresher from what the modern war games have been doing lately, but not much more than that.
I guess to an extent, I see what you're saying, and also that's kind of what I use Call of Duty for a lot of the time when I used to play it back in the day. Back when I was a noob at video games, play Call of Duty Elite quick scopes all day, every day. But, back then, I used to like Call of Duty because it was just like pick up and you play it. And that's what I used Titanfall for the few days that I was playing it. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed it when I did. And I put in actually a considerable number of hours.
Yeah.
And
I'd say so.
In a surprisingly, it was an alright amount of time, I guess. It wasn't like,
you only have the game for you only have the game for 5 days, so.
Yeah, but 4 hours isn't bad for that amount of time.
Yeah.
Not like Starbound levels of addiction, but it was considerable, and I think that's worth mentioning because you only played a certain number of hours and then you got cut off from the beta. It's not like you weren't going to play it anymore, right?
It was like I'd play. I played my first match and I was like, okay, that was kind of fun. But at the same time, it was like if there were that I don't think anybody else was on that I really wanted to play with, and it was like if I had $60, would I invested in this game? And the answer at that point was no. And it was a game that got boring rather quickly to me.
What do you mean?
By the end of my second match, I was kind of like, because I was actually news update. I've just picked up book one of a Song of Fire and Ice, which happens to be a Game of Thrones, and it's really good. It's a really good book. I've seen the first episode in the series, and it was amazing. And I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do this, I'll do it the right way. So I picked up the book, and it's really freaking good. So it was do I want to play Titanfall right now, or do I want to read a Game of Thrones, or do I want to play a different game? And after my 2 matches, I was like, I kind of want to read for a little bit, and then after that, I think I'll play some Civ 5, and it was
wow.
It just wasn't one of those games that really stuck.
Books and then strategy games. Who are you?
I'm Box of Toast.
Oh yeah.
Hello, I'm your host, Box of Toast.
Oh,
and today we're going to be reading a Game of Thrones.
Shut up. Okay. Anyway, I guess I see where you're coming from. I don't know. I've never read Game of Thrones, so I can't compare them in my head, nor can I compare them really at all physically because I've never even seen the cover of a Game of Thrones book. But
nothing special. It's blue.
It's nice.
Got George R. R. Martin large text and
nice
the hilt of a sword.
Blue's a nice color.
And then
blue's a nice color. Okay, just leave me alone.
Fades to white in the middle.
Oh my god, this guy. Okay, we should probably wrap up the
sword
recording
does
soon
not
because this is 35-minute discussion already.
Hey, people might want to know what we think about
So I
things.
guess we'll just wrap up with our opinions on whether. I guess you kind of already gave yours on whether it's gonna be worth it or not.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely gonna be worth it. Mostly because I just killed myself on spikes. I think it's gonna be worth it because it's like I really enjoyed the time I had with it, and I'm really looking forward to playing it again in March. I had no problems with spending $60, mostly because I'm rich. No, I'm not rich. I really enjoyed the time with my game that I did have with it, and I'm looking forward to playing it perhaps with friends. I played it the entire time by myself too, which is also kind of remarkable. Besides, like literally,
Remarkable.
that hurt to hear. Anyway, oh god, I don't even remember what I was saying. I found it fun. Okay, I found it a good time, worth it. I like the AI. I like all the mechanics. I'm looking forward to more weapons. Looking forward to more maps. One thing I can say is that if they don't add more weapons and more maps, well, I know they're gonna add more maps, but I don't know how many more weapons they're gonna add. I don't know how many more Titans they're gonna add. They had at least, I think, 2 playable Titans in the beta, and as far as I know, they were not all that different. They didn't really feel all that different to play. It was alright, but I really enjoy the gunplay, the mechanics of that. It's good. I like it. Thumbs up from Mark. Probably a 9 out of 10. Honestly, I really enjoyed it.
Like from a base gameplay standpoint, I'd give it like a 7. But then for overall game worth, I'd give it like a 6.
I don't like you.
6 out of 10 would not buy.
What's the matter? Why wouldn't it be a 6 out of 9?
Because that'd be an odd number.
What's the matter? Why wouldn't
I'd give it a
s-
6.9 out of 10.
Alright, that's fine.
For overall gameplay. But overall game worth is definitely like
So
6 out of 10.
What? Why is 6 out of 10? I don't understand you.
It didn't strike me as that great of a game.
Alright, so these are experience per impressions and then beginner impressions, hyped and non-hyped impressions, etc., etc. So that's, you got the best of both worlds in this
Basically, you
case.
got the first look impression and then the 5 hours in impression. So
Yeah, and then you can look at my video. You can look into my more the in-depth mechanics of it instead of just a discussion on it and
yeah,
a video of Spelunky. But
I didn't record it because I didn't feel the real need to. There's plenty of people who did so.
Ow. I mean, yeah, I doubt this is gonna get more than like 10 views, but you know what? It's
Maybe we'll
fine.
get some very insightful comments. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. But I did enjoy the time I had with it. I thought it was a good time. I'm definitely looking forward to playing it some more. Definitely, for show.
For Shrizzle.
Oh my god, I just got a bomb box. Holy crap. Anyway, if
A
you
Bob
want...
box?
A bomb box of toast.
Basically, yeah.
If you want to go check out Greg's channel, the hater of Titanfall, you can go to youtube.com/aboxoftoast. If you want to subscribe to the person who is an advocate for the Titanfalls, who didn't have hypothermia,
That's like a good word for overhype of things.
right? I just thought of that right now.
Kudos to you, I guess.
Thank you. Kudos to you, I guess. Yeah, if you want to subscribe, you can, because I'm going to be
Do that.
doing videos and stuff. Probably not more Titanfall discussions because it got pretty repetitive by the end anyway.
Yeah, I'd say so.
If you want to do
It's
that,
a fair criticism to
you
make.
could just re-watch this same video again, mash the refresh button. But
Mash the refresh button, it helps out.
oh god, I almost killed myself with a snake. Yeah, you can do that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Stay frosty. Okay, I can end this.